Alright, let's talk about the biggest rivalry in the history of sports. Forget the Ashes, forget the Super Bowl, and forget the World Cup final between anyone else. When India and Pakistan step onto a cricket field, the world stops. It is not just a game, it is a high-stakes drama where billions of people hold their breath for every single delivery. It is a clash of cultures, a battle of nerves, and a spectacle that transcends the boundaries of the sport itself. The intensity is so high that it often feels like more than just a game of bat and ball. It is about national pride, historical baggage, and the sheer joy of overcoming your greatest adversary on the biggest stage of them all. The build-up to these matches starts weeks in advance, with fans on both sides of the border engaging in friendly, and sometimes not so friendly, banter. The media coverage is relentless, with every player's form and fitness being scrutinised under a microscope. The social media platforms are flooded with memes, predictions, and passionate debates. Today, we are diving deep into every single India versus Pakistan encounter in the history of the T20 World Cup. We are going from the very first bowl out in 2007 all the way to the absolute clinical demolition in 2026. We will look at where the matches happened, who the heroes were, and exactly where the games were won and lost. This is the ultimate breakdown of the greatest rivalry in cricket. Our story begins in 2007 at the inaugural World T20 in South Africa. The world was still getting used to this new fast-paced format of the game. Most people thought it was just a gimmick, but the players were taking it very seriously. The first time these two giants met in this format was in the group stages at Kingsmead, Durban. The atmosphere was electric, even though it was just a group match. The fans had travelled from all over the world to witness this historic moment. The stadium was a sea of blue and green, with flags waving and chants echoing through the air. India batted first and struggled against a fired-up Pakistani bowling attack. Mohammad Asif was moving the ball like a magician, and the Indian top order had no answers. Gautam Gambhir, Virender Sehwag, and Yuvraj Singh were all back in the pavilion before the power play was even over. The Indian fans were stunned into silence as the wickets kept falling. It looked like India was in for a very short stay in the tournament. The Pakistani bowlers were bowling with great pace and accuracy, and they were putting the Indian batters under immense pressure from the very first ball. India managed to crawl to 141 runs, thanks to a gritty 50 from Robin Uthappa, and some late-order hitting from MS Dhoni and Irfan Pathan. Uthappa's innings was a masterclass in handling pressure, as he kept the scoreboard ticking while wickets fell at the other end. He was playing with a maturity that belied his young age, and he was finding gaps in the field with ease. Dhoni and Pathan provided the much-needed finishing touch, taking India to a total that at least gave their bowlers something to defend. It did not look like enough on a good Durban pitch, but the Indian bowlers had other plans. Pakistan's chase was a roller coaster. They lost early wickets too, with RP Singh and Irfan Pathan bowling with great control. But Misbah-ul-Haq was the man who stood between India and victory. He played a calm and composed innings, taking the game deep into the final over. Pakistan needed one run off the final two balls with Misbah at the crease. But in a moment of pure madness, Misbah missed a scoop shot and the match ended in a tie. The stadium was in a state of shock as the players realised the game was not over. The tension was palpable as the officials prepared for the bowl-out. Back then, ties were decided by a bowl-out. It was basically the cricket version of a penalty shootout. India chose their bowlers wisely: Sehwag, Harbhajan, and Uthappa. They all hit the stumps with ease, showing their focus and preparation. They had actually spent time practicing this specific scenario in their training sessions, and it showed in their performance. Pakistan chose their regular bowlers, but they all missed. Yasir Arafat, Umar Gul, and Shahid Afridi all failed to hit the target. India won the bowl-out 3-0. It was a bizarre but thrilling end to their first ever T20 World Cup clash. India won because they had actually practiced for the bowl-out, while Pakistan seemed caught off guard by the pressure of the moment. This match set the tone for the rest of the tournament and showed that India was a team that could handle the pressure of the big stage. The victory gave India the momentum they needed to go all the way. The Indian fans in Durban were celebrating long into the night as their team had managed to pull off a miracle. The victory was a huge boost for the young Indian team, and it gave them the confidence to take on any opponent. But the universe was not done with them in 2007. Just a few days later, they met again in the final at the Wanderers Stadium in Johannesburg. This is arguably the most famous T20 match ever played. The stakes could not have been higher. The entire world was watching as the two arch-rivals faced off for the ultimate prize. The build-up to the final was intense, with both teams feeling the weight of expectations. The stadium was packed to capacity, and the noise was deafening. India batted first again, and this time it was Gautam Gambhir who stepped up. He played a magnificent knock of 75 runs, anchoring the innings while others played around him. He was hitting boundaries with precision and running hard between the wickets. He knew that a big score was needed to put Pakistan under pressure. Rohit Sharma, a young kid back then, played a crucial cameo at the end, scoring 30 runs off just 16 balls to help India reach a competitive total of 157. His hitting in the final overs was a sign of the greatness that was to come. The Indian fans were cheering every run, and the atmosphere was electric. Pakistan's chase was once again led by Misbah-ul-Haq. He was the lone warrior, taking the game deep into the final over after the rest of the batting lineup had crumbled. The Pakistani fans were on the edge of their seats as Misbah kept their hopes alive. He was hitting sixes and fours with ease, and it looked like he was going to take Pakistan home. India needed to defend 13 runs in the last over. MS Dhoni, in his first tournament as captain, made the legendary decision to give the ball to Joginder Sharma instead of the experienced Harbhajan Singh. It was a massive gamble that would define his captaincy. Misbah hit a massive six on the second ball, and it looked like Pakistan had it. The Pakistani fans were celebrating in the stands. But then, on the third ball, Misbah tried a scoop shot over short fine leg. The ball hung in the air for what felt like an eternity before Sreesanth caught it. India won by 5 runs and became the first ever T20 World Champions. The game was won by India's nerves of steel and lost by Pakistan's one moment of over-ambition from their best player. This victory changed the face of Indian cricket forever and led to the birth of the Indian Premier League. The celebrations in India were unprecedented, with millions of people taking to the streets to celebrate the historic win. The victory was a testament to India's superior planning and execution in big matches. After the high of 2007, we had to wait 5 years for the next World Cup encounter. In 2012, the two teams met in the Super 8 stage at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo, Sri Lanka. This match was much less of a contest and more of a one-man show. Pakistan batted first, but were completely stifled by the Indian bowlers. Lakshmipathy Balaji and Ravichandran Ashwin were brilliant, and Pakistan were bowled out for a measly 128 runs. The Pakistani batters seemed to have no plan against the Indian spinners, and they kept losing wickets at regular intervals. The Indian fielders were also exceptional, cutting off runs and taking sharp catches. The pressure was building on Pakistan from the very first over, and they never managed to recover. The Indian bowlers were bowling with great discipline, and they never gave the Pakistani batters any easy runs. The Pakistani fans were disappointed as their team failed to put up a fight. Then came the Virat Kohli era. Kohli was just starting to become the monster we know today. He walked out and played a flawless innings of 78 not out. He was in total control, hitting boundaries at will and rotating the strike with ease. He was playing with a confidence that was infectious, and the rest of the team followed his lead. He made the chase look like a walk in the park, and India won by 8 wickets with 3 overs to spare. India won this game because their bowlers set the tone early, and Kohli was simply on another level. Pakistan lost because their batting lacked the aggression needed to put India under any real pressure on a good batting surface. This match was a clear indication that the balance of power in the rivalry was shifting heavily in India's favour. Kohli's performance was a sign of things to come, as he would go on to dominate Pakistan in many more matches. The Indian fans in Colombo were treated to a masterclass in batting from their new superstar. The victory was a statement of intent from the Indian team, and it showed that they were ready to take on any challenge. 2 years later, in 2014, the rivalry moved to Dhaka, Bangladesh. Once again, it was a group stage match, and once again, India's bowlers dominated. Pakistan struggled to get any momentum on a slow spinning track. Amit Mishra was the star of the show, taking 2 wickets for just 22 runs in his 4 overs. He was bamboozling the Pakistani batters with his leg spin and googlies. The Pakistani batters were playing for the turn that wasn't there, and they were caught in 2 minds. Pakistan could only manage 130 runs for the loss of 7 wickets. It was a very disappointing performance from a team that was known for its flair and aggression. The Indian bowlers were bowling with great discipline, and they never gave the Pakistani batters any easy runs. The Pakistani fans were left frustrated as their team failed to adapt to the conditions. India's chase was clinical. Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan gave them a solid start, putting on a 50-run partnership for the first wicket. They were playing with freedom and putting the Pakistani bowlers under pressure from the start. Virat Kohli and Suresh Raina then finished the job with some sensible batting. India won by 7 wickets with 9 balls remaining. The game was won in the middle overs, where India's spinners completely choked the Pakistani batters. Pakistan lost because they could not find a way to score against the spin, and their total was never going to be enough against a batting lineup as deep as India's. This match further cemented India's dominance over Pakistan in World Cup events. The Indian fans in Dhaka were ecstatic as their team continued its winning streak. The victory was a testament to India's superior planning and execution in big matches. The Indian team was playing with a level of confidence that was hard to match. In 2016, the World Cup was held in India, and the big match was scheduled for Dharamshala but moved to Eden Gardens in Kolkata due to security concerns. The build-up to the game was intense, with both teams feeling the pressure of the home crowd. The stadium was packed to capacity, with over 60,000 fans, creating an incredible atmosphere. The rain delayed the start, making it an 18-over-a-side game on a pitch that was turning square. Pakistan batted first and struggled immensely against the spin of Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja. They managed to scrape together 118 runs. The ball was turning so much that it looked like a Day 5 Test match pitch. The Pakistani batters were struggling to even make contact with the ball, and they were constantly being beaten by the turn. The Indian bowlers were bowling with great control, and they never gave the Pakistani batters any easy runs. India's chase started poorly. Mohammad Amir bowled a sensational opening spell, and India were reduced to 23 for 3. The crowd was silent, and it looked like Pakistan might finally break the jinx. Amir was bowling with pace and swing, and the Indian top order was in trouble. But then Virat Kohli happened. On a pitch where everyone else was struggling to survive, Kohli was playing a different game. He was using his feet to get to the pitch of the ball and playing with soft hands. He was finding gaps that no one else could see. He scored 55 not out, guiding India to a 6-wicket victory. This game was won by Kohli's sheer genius and lost by Pakistan's inability to capitalise on their early breakthroughs with the ball. Kohli's celebration after reaching his 50 showed just how much this match meant to him and the country. He bowed to the legendary Sachin Tendulkar, who was in the stands, in a moment that went viral. The victory was a huge relief for the Indian fans, who had been nervous after the early wickets. The victory was a testament to Kohli's superior skill and temperament in big matches. Then came 2021, and the narrative finally shifted. The match took place at the Dubai International Stadium in the United Arab Emirates. For years, India had held a perfect record against Pakistan in World Cups, but that night the streak was broken in spectacular fashion. The Pakistani fans were hopeful but cautious, while the Indian fans were confident of another victory. It started with Shaheen Shah Afridi. In his first 2 overs, he removed Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul with absolute peaches. The ball was swinging at high speed, and the Indian openers had no answers. India were reeling at 6 for 2. Virat Kohli fought hard for a 50, but India could only reach 151. The Pakistani bowlers were relentless, and the Indian batters could never get going. The pressure was building on India from the very first ball, and they never managed to recover. The Pakistani bowlers were bowling with great pace and accuracy, and they were putting the Indian batters under immense pressure. What happened next was historic. Pakistan's openers, Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan, did not just chase the target, they demolished it. They stayed together until the very end, winning the match by 10 wickets. They were playing with such composure and skill that the Indian bowlers looked completely helpless. It was the first time Pakistan had ever beaten India in a World Cup, and they did it without losing a single wicket. The game was won by Shaheen's opening burst and the incredible composure of Babar and Rizwan. India lost because their top order was blown away, and their bowlers had no answers for the Pakistani openers. The scenes in the Pakistani dressing room after the match were of pure joy and relief as they had finally overcome their biggest hurdle. The victory was celebrated across Pakistan, and it gave the team a huge boost of confidence. The Indian fans were left in shock as they had never seen their team lose so convincingly to Pakistan in a World Cup. The victory was a historic moment for Pakistani cricket, and it showed that they were ready to take on any challenge. The two teams met again just 1 year later, in 2022, at the Melbourne Cricket Ground in Australia. This match is widely regarded as one of the greatest T20 games ever played. Over 90,000 people were in the stadium, and the atmosphere was electric. The noise was deafening as the players walked out onto the field. Pakistan batted first, and despite a shaky start, managed to reach 159 runs, thanks to 50s from Shan Masood and Iftikhar Ahmed. Arshdeep Singh and Hardik Pandya were the pick of the Indian bowlers, taking crucial wickets at key moments. Arshdeep's opening spell was particularly impressive as he removed Babar Azam for a golden duck. The Pakistani batters fought back well, but India's bowlers kept them in check. The Indian fielders were also exceptional, cutting off runs and taking sharp catches. The pressure was building on Pakistan from the very first over, and they never managed to recover. India's chase was a disaster early on. They were 4 wickets down for just 31 runs. The game looked over. The Pakistani fans were already celebrating. But Virat Kohli and Hardik Pandya put together a heroic partnership. They took the game deep, but the required run rate kept climbing. With 8 balls left, India still needed 28 runs. Then Kohli hit 2 of the most iconic sixes in history against Haris Rauf. One straight back over the bowler's head, and one over fine leg. The final over was pure chaos with no balls, free hits and wickets. India won on the final ball by 4 wickets. The game was won by Kohli's belief and those 2 sixes that defied physics. Pakistan lost because they could not close out the game when they had India on the ropes. This match will be remembered for generations as the night Virat Kohli became a legend. The image of Kohli on his knees after the winning run is one of the most iconic in cricket history. The victory was a huge moment for Indian cricket, and it showed that they could never be counted out. The victory was a testament to Kohli's superior skill and temperament in big matches. In 2024, the rivalry went to the United States, specifically to a temporary stadium in Nassau County, New York. The pitch was a minefield, with uneven bounce making batting nearly impossible. The build-up to the game was massive as cricket was trying to make a mark in America. India batted first and were bowled out for just 119 runs. It was their lowest total ever against Pakistan in a T20 World Cup. Naseem Shah and Haris Rauf were brilliant for Pakistan, using the conditions to their advantage. The Indian batters were struggling to even survive on the pitch, and they were constantly being hit on the body. It was a very difficult day for batting, and India's total looked very low. The Pakistani bowlers were bowling with great pace and accuracy, and they were putting the Indian batters under immense pressure. The Indian fans were worried as their team failed to put up a big score. At the halfway mark, Pakistan were the favourites. They were cruising at 80 for 3, needing only 40 runs with plenty of wickets in hand. The Pakistani fans were confident of a victory. But then, Jasprit Bumrah took over. He bowled a spell for the ages, taking 3 wickets for just 14 runs. He removed Mohammad Rizwan at a crucial moment, and the Pakistani batting lineup collapsed under the pressure. India won by 6 runs in a low-scoring thriller. The game was won by Bumrah's world-class skill and India's refusal to give up. Pakistan lost because they panicked in a simple chase and could not handle the pressure of the occasion. This match proved that even on a bad day, India's bowling could win them games. The victory was a huge relief for the Indian team as they had managed to defend a very low total. The Indian fans in New York were celebrating a victory that seemed impossible just an hour earlier. The victory was a testament to India's superior skill and temperament in big matches. Finally, we come to the most recent encounter in 2026. The match was held at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo, Sri Lanka. India were the defending champions and were looking to assert their dominance. The stadium was packed with fans from both sides, and the energy was incredible. India batted first and put on a clinical display. Ishan Kishan was the star, smashing 77 runs off just 40 balls. He was fearless, taking on the Pakistani fast bowlers and hitting them all over the park. He was particularly aggressive against Shaheen Afridi, hitting him for several boundaries in the power play. India reached a massive total of 175 for 7. The Pakistani bowlers were struggling to find their rhythm, and India's batters were taking full advantage. The Indian fans were cheering every run, and the atmosphere was electric. The victory was a statement of intent from the Indian team, and it showed that they were ready to defend their title. Pakistan's chase never got going. Jasprit Bumrah was once again the executioner, taking 2 wickets for 17 runs. He was bowling with pace and accuracy, and the Pakistani batters had no answer. The Pakistani batting lineup crumbled under the pressure of the big total. They were losing wickets at regular intervals, and they never managed to build any partnerships. They were eventually bowled out for 114 runs, losing by 61 runs. This was one of the most one-sided matches in the history of the rivalry. India won because their batting was aggressive and their bowling was relentless. Pakistan lost because they were outclassed in every single department of the game. This match showed that India was still the team to beat in world cricket. The victory was a statement of intent from the defending champions, and it showed that they were ready to defend their title. The victory was a testament to India's superior skill and temperament in big matches. Looking back at all these matches, the rivalry has seen everything. We have seen bowl-outs, last ball finishes, 10-wicket wins, and clinical demolitions. India has dominated the head-to-head record, winning 8 out of the 9 matches played in T20 World Cups. Most of these games were won in the mind as much as on the field. India's ability to stay calm under pressure has often been the difference, while Pakistan's moments of brilliance have sometimes been overshadowed by their tendency to crumble at the finish line. The rivalry is a test of character, and India has consistently come out on top. The players on both sides know that this is the match that matters the most, and they always give it their all. The rivalry is a celebration of the sport, and it brings people together from all over the world. The venues have changed, from the bouncy tracks of South Africa and Australia to the spinning surfaces of Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, and even the unpredictable pitches of New York. But the intensity remains the same. Every time these two teams meet, a new hero is born. Whether it is Gautam Gambhir in Johannesburg, Virat Kohli in Melbourne, or Jasprit Bumrah in New York, these matches define careers and create legends. The fans too play a huge part in this rivalry. Their passion and energy make every match feel like a grand finale. The rivalry is a celebration of the sport, and it brings people together from all over the world. It is a reminder of why we love cricket and why this rivalry is so special. The rivalry will continue to evolve, with new players and new stories being written in every match.